Today I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Mary Kemnitz, co-owner of D&H Enterprises. We go way back. We're just going to hang out. We're going to talk about what makes her special and unique. Warning, there's a ton that makes her special and unique. Who she serves in the world, what is her why, what advice she has for us. And seriously, this is just an excuse for me to hang out with my girlfriend, Mary. So welcome to all of you who are watching this recording, because grab your beverage of choice. She has hers, I have mine. You know me, I'm like into my tea, but I just wanted some quality time with a fabulous Mary Kemnitz. Woo, girl.
Thank you, Jen.
I know, right? Like, oh God, what an adventure, right? Okay, so all right, so everyone should know that, gosh, you're gonna be able to tell you what makes you special and unique. There's so much, but everyone should know that I know Mary from the auto repair world. We met, gosh, I'm trying to figure out when we met, 2011 maybe ish, I
I
think.
think so.
And I started doing content for her, D&H Enterprises, that she owns with her hubby Dave. And they are pillars of the Concord, California community. You'll find out more about that in a minute. And and then we've known each other off and on through the years, and we're working together again. We're helping. Rockstar Marketing is helping with her nonprofit Cars Second Chance, which we're going to discuss, and also with D&H Enterprises. And personally, I look to Mary as one of the female leaders in the auto repair industry. She's a pioneer that, like, not many women were in it, and she was a leader in it. And um, I've been in it for 11 years, but like, whenever I need to, like, take my cape off and, like, let my hair down and go, what's up with this? I can bring it to Mary and she can walk me through it because she's been there. So she's, whether she knows it or not, she is one of my mentors and someone that I absolutely love. So welcome, my darling Mary.
Thank you, Jen. I'm blushing.
Stop it,
I'm
please.
gonna have a sip of wine on that.
Right?
Mm.
Right? Okay, so first question. What makes you special and unique? And please feel free to, like, take an hour telling us all the things that you do, because you do everything.
Well, I started working at D&H about, it's been 21 years now. I can hardly believe that. So I came from a hospital environment. I worked in an imaging center at a hospital in Oakland, and Dave's business was growing and growing, and he asked me to come on board and help him. And wow, it was a challenge. Back then, women were not respected in this business. We were belittled, we were trodden on. No one listened to what we had to say. So for me, it was such a challenge to learn about the cars, to learn how to write service, to learn how to sell service, to learn how to do the bookkeeping, all the aspects of the business, the marketing. So it was huge. And through the years, I think that dynamic has changed. Women are much more respected than they were back in the day. And it feels good now to be sort of at the end of my journey, because it won't be long until Dave and I retire. But it feels good to be pretty knowledged in the automotive industry, where there's not much that can come by or that could happen in the shop that's going to throw us back, because I've learned it all from the ground up. It's a good feeling right now. So
It
yeah, maybe,
is.
I don't know about making me special. I don't feel special a lot of days, but it's been a challenge. So sort of
Well,
midway through that whole era of coming into the business and learning with Dave, I started getting this bug to volunteer. So first I wanted to go, work maybe with ARF, because I love animals. I love dogs so much. But then I met another shop owner who invited me to our trade or ASCCA, Automotive Service Councils of California. He invited me to a trade organization meeting, and wow, I heard about all the great things this chapter was doing. And you know what? Before I could blink, I was part of that and working on things, and that was a great experience, working with all of these fellow shop owners, learning what their challenges were, and giving freely of my time, volunteering to make things better, to make a difference. So that's been huge for me.
Yeah, you would become president of that organization,
Yes, at the
state
as I
level.
moved into that organization, I joined it not only at the local level but at the state level, and became president. Served a year as president of that organization, and that was a challenge.
Right. Well, so you wanted to do this. You weren't voluntold to do this. You
No, I did. And the more deeper I got into it, the more interesting it became, and seeing the success we had with different projects we were doing, it's totally addicting.
It is.
So I
It's a really
loved
good
it.
organization. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when you first started though, here you are, the lone woman, and here you are
Well,
becoming part of this organization. Were you relegated to secretarial type of stuff, or because you were
oh
a fellow
no,
shop owner, were they listening to you?
no, there actually was another woman there, and we became friends, and they listened to us, and the organization that managed them, um, their leader helped us, and it was a great experience. The three of us brought forward a lot of different ideas that were adopted. It was a great thing.
That's
Hmm.
fantastic. So now, you also, in your journey, started a nonprofit, Cars Second Chance. Tell us the story
Right.
behind that is really cool. So if you could explain like how you went from ASCCA and being a co-owner of a shop to like how you got into this.
So Dave joined the Rotary. This was during the recession. I had joined ASCCA and was volunteering, and Dave joined the Rotary. He saw I had the bug. He decided to join the Rotary. And I went to some of the Rotary meetings with him, and I was truly amazed at the good they do. And we said to each other, I wish there was more we could do. And one thing we had happening a lot was cars that could no longer be fixed. They were dead, done. They needed to go away. So the customers were always asking us, well, where can we donate our car to? So at first we were telling them the name of an organization we thought was a great place to donate cars. But after we looked into it, we found that they were keeping 75% to administrate the program. So we said to each other, it can't be that hard. Let's talk to Copart Auto Auction, and let's talk to the Rotary. Maybe we can join with the Rotary, use their nonprofit, work with Copart Auto Auction to sell these cars, and see if we can't bring some money right back into the Rotary, and we'll volunteer our time. And it grew into this huge program. I mean, it is amazing. We even opened up a branch of it back in those days with our trade organization. We opened up Cars for Careers. I worked on that. That was one of my projects with ASCCA.
I didn't
Uh,
know that. Was that
yeah,
to help train the future automotive
no,
technicians on
Cars
cars?
Cars for Careers was a branch. Well, it was a branch of that idea Dave and I had. We brought that idea to our trade organization, and they said, hey, let's do the same thing with our nonprofit with ASCCA. So we worked with the Educational Foundation and developed a program that I named Cars for Careers. And so the money we received from the sale of cars going to Copart went directly to fund scholarships for ASCCA Educational Foundation. And that program, even though I'm no longer active with ASCCA as the way I used to be, that program still goes on today. It's an amazing thing. So, but the one for the Rotary, it's developed wings and it is flying. It is just huge. We came up with the idea of partners. We have close to 100 partners, not only other Rotaries, but nonprofits all over the Bay Area. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And tell everybody what happens to these donated cars. Where is the money going,
So
or where are the cars going to?
So the cars, they come through our portal that we created. It's a website you go to donate your car. And when they come through, the donor is telling you what's wrong with the car. If it looks like they can be fixed, we will bring them to our shop and repair them and then sell them from our lot. But I would say probably 85 to 90% of the cars that come through that portal go directly to Copart Auto Auction, and they're sold, and they can go to third world countries or they can be parted out.
Cool. And then the money that's raised goes to some
Oh, the
amazing
money. I
group.
forgot about the money.
Yeah, right. I mean, the cars is one thing, but then the proceeds from the
the
sale.
I don't know if you know much about Rotary, but they have so many projects going on at any one time. Um, we do so many things within our community, but also overseas. Let me give you the example of one vehicle that came through. Um, it was a motorhome, and it was donated from this family locally. That motorhome, when it was brand new, Jennifer, sold for $500,000, and they were donating it. So
That's
it
a
was in,
nice RV.
I know, it was in storage locally. So my Rotary guys, my husband and the rest of the guys, even my son joined on that one. They went and looked at it. They put brand new batteries in it, cleaned it, and then we put it up for sale and we posted it. One of the Rotarians said, I'm going to post it on Facebook Marketplace and see what happens. He posted it for $125,000, and right away someone wanted it. So he made an appointment, and shop was really busy, but I told Dave, I said, you're going to have to make time today to go out and try to sell this, because I knew if anybody could sell it, it was Dave, because he has such great selling skills. He went out there and he sold it for $130,000. So what was so amazing, though, Jennifer, is that that money went to Africa. There was a crisis in Africa, an Ebola crisis. All these children were being orphaned. And the gal who had donated the motorhome, that was her pet project. She wanted that money to go to Africa. But the Rotary, it was being done on a grant. The Rotary matched that 130,000.
No
So
way.
260,000 went to this project in Africa. That was probably one of the most exciting projects I've ever been a part of. It just was a thing of beauty. But it's like the cars we've had donated, I mean, you would think, granted, a lot of them are old and done, but there are some beautiful vehicles we get donated. Just the other day, I had an attorney with an estate call me, and a 1973 Rolls Royce right hand drive.
What?
It's just crazy the things we've had donated through the years. Some beautiful, beautiful. So we've been doing this project uh, 11 years, and we have grossed $1.2 million. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That Rolls Royce, that's amazing. That's a beautiful little classic, isn't it?
That could
How
be
much is
you,
that?
Jennifer.
How much is that going for?
And just at the beginning of it, I'm going to go out there to the estate, to the home that they have out in Orinda, and Dave and I are going to look at there's actually 4 cars that are being donated, and we're just going to make sure they're going to be running drive so that they can make it through the auction line. I have no idea. It's a specialty car, so if it looks really good, we may send it to a specialty auction.
Wow. Wow, because
But it's a
I remembered reading this great article in Quora or something about this, it was like what was your best car? And this guy wrote this beautiful article about how he had bought a Rolls, or somehow got a hold of a Rolls Royce, and he just it was a convertible, and it was amazing, and it was beautiful, and it was just so plush, and he just had so much fun with it. And he wrote this story about how he picked up a friend at the airport, and they just acted like they were old Hollywood stars, and everyone like gave respect because it was this beautiful car. And I just remembered reading that article going, I would like to ride around in a Rolls. That'd be fun. Can I at least ride in it before you guys sell it?
I don't know. I got to see what condition it's in. It probably has rotten tires. I don't know. It's been sitting for 2 or 3 years. But it's just
Wow.
off the hook what gets donated. I think that's why I love the program so much. It's the cars and the people I get to meet, and I get to help hear their stories. When the fires happened in Paradise, California, that really hit close to home for Dave and I because we knew so many Rotarians who lost their homes in Paradise. And I remember sitting at Thanksgiving dinner with the family and saying, we've got to find a way to help these people. I mean, what can we do? There's got to be something we can do. We've got to help them. And then I don't know, out of nowhere it came to us. Let's market for cars for then we developed Cars for Paradise. And they put us on TV, and the donations. This was all happening over Christmas. Christmas Day, I was getting phone calls of people wanting to donate cars. So we ended up sending probably 68 cars to Paradise.
68 cars to anybody who lived in Paradise and found out that they
Needed
were
a car.
homeless, carless.
There was this one
Amazing.
organization called California Vocations, and it's a nonprofit there that they help the elderly. All of their staff was out on runs when the fire hit their location. It burned every employee's car in the parking lot was wiped out, and these are young kids,
Oh my
working
gosh.
for California Vocations. So every one of them got a car before we were done.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
That's that's
that's what does
amazing.
it for me. I work really hard on the project. All of the cars come through the portal, and I manage them all, and I direct it all. I direct what happens, and that's what feels so good. I work hard, but it's such a good feeling because we're helping others. That's what does it for me, Jan.
No, I love it. In fact, it's funny because I normally go to the next question, who do you serve in your life? And then the following, what is your why? And you've just wrapped it up in a beautiful little bow. You serve others because you've always been so community minded. What was it that, and maybe this is part of your why as well, like you get such joy out of helping others, but what was it in your life that flipped that switch for you, that you just knew that you needed to serve others and to volunteer? Was it a specific event or just your parents raising you that way?
I think what it was, Jennifer, is just reflecting on my life. I feel like I've had a very happy life. I with a guy that I'll be with Dave 48 years in June, and it's never boring. He's fantastic. We have so much fun together. And I have a wonderful son and grandchildren, a wonderful daughter in law. I'm just lucky. I feel like I'm really lucky and I'm blessed. And I want others to feel happy the way I feel happy. That kind of, it to me, it was a thank you for my life.
Nice. It was like a pay it forward kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Love
that's
that
so
movie.
cool. That is so cool. So now, did your why, okay, your why is to thank people, and by doing that through acts of kindness and support and love. Has your why always been this way, or has it shifted through the years? Like, for example, when I was younger, my why was, I don't even remember. My why was to become a rock star, and then I became a rock star, right? And
Mhm.
now my why is to create a ripple effect of joy that affects millions of people. Like, has yours shifted, or have you always been like, I just want to be, I want to show gratitude?
I think I've always been that way. Always. That's probably the way I was raised. I mean, sometimes people talk about it, the horrible bringing up they had and blame everything on their parents. And sure, mine weren't perfect, but I feel really blessed to have grown up on a beautiful farm with really great parents that were always so supportive of everything I did or wanted to do. So I have just been lucky, Jen.
Yeah. We've both been very lucky. We've had very good lives. And you're right. Like, I see a lot of suffering, and it breaks my heart. But I also know from talking to the people who are now authors and public speakers and entrepreneurs, sometimes that suffering was the catalyst that brought them to greatness. It was, what is
Yeah,
that phrase? What is that phrase when you want to forge metal, when you want metal to be stronger, you put it under fire? And so the sword is made by tempered steel. So it's
yes.
almost like, like I'm such a cream puff because I haven't had much stuff, thank goodness, right? Because I don't know if I can handle it all. Right.
You could. You're strong to the core.
But you're right. It's just like when you have such good and you can recognize it, then you can pass it forward. So,
Right.
okay, so you will be retiring some point, hopefully not anytime soon, because I love you too
Yeah.
much to let you go. But that's a good journey. No, and that just, it's like, you have so much experience, you have so much knowledge. What do you think is going to be the next chapter? Is it focusing on family and going out boating and just kind of relaxing, or do you think you would be coaching? Because if anybody would be an amazing coach for women, it would be you.
Well, that's a thought. I hadn't really thought that far down the road. I've I've been elected to be president of my Rotary Club, not this next year, but the year following. So when you're president, you usually want to come up with a project and involve everyone and just do something to make a statement or do something that brings everyone together to accomplish something amazing. So I have been thinking about what is going to be my project the year that I'm Rotary president. And I think that it's going to focus on the homeless because, gosh, Jennifer, we have so much of it here in Concord. The COVID, it is just incredible. And I invited one of the city council members to talk to us about it at meeting this morning. And there's a lot that needs to be done there. So that's kind of my next goal is what can I do to help make a difference with the homeless locally in Concord?
And you're right. And you'd be doing it kind of with the cars second chance as well. Just,
Probably with Cars
it
Second Chance funding
it's
it.
yeah, it's a great thing. A few years ago, I was asked to help with a marketing project that never quite got off the ground, and it was kind of a shame. It was a it was a group that wanted to build tiny homes for prisoners who got out of prison, because as the story goes, if I recall, when you get out of prison, they hand you a couple $100 and say good luck, and
Hmm.
then you're left to fend for yourselves. We know $200 does not get you far at all.
No.
Like, with you, when if you pay for a hotel and food, it's gone in one day. And so the particular prison that we were talking to was in Salinas Valley, and there's a vocational program within this prison. It's for the people who are serious about reforming and working on a trade. And some of the people in the program were former business owners that made a really bad decision that got them into
Hmm.
prison. But there were some very qualified roofers, carpenters, HVAC, electrical, welders. They taught auto shop. They taught auto body. Um, what else was in there? Plumbing, all the basic trades. And this particular project, the vocational team was building their tiny homes. And unfortunately, things got derailed. It started getting green lighted throughout the state. So, like, there were a lot of people who were like, yes, let's do this. And it was going to be on prison property on the outside of the fence. So, it was still going to be near the prison. So, it was a safe space, but yet it was their own home stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I was sad that it didn't really come to fruition, at least as far as I could. But I could see how, yeah, there's a lot of people through COVID, through different reasons, that it wasn't always their fault. It was just a circumstance that just put them there. Kids, it's not kids' fault that they're homeless, right? And you're right, there's a lot of need. So you're already doing stuff, of course, with the food bank. Tell us a little bit about the food bank as well.
Oh, the food bank. So when it started with COVID, of course, the same feelings were rushing through us. What can we do? What can we do? So we used the same marketing technique we did with Paradise because it worked so beautifully. And we asked for cars for the food bank, and we set a goal of $100,000. So we started that project in May, and as of just a few days ago, we have brought $75,000 to the food bank. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? What those cars, throwaway cars, can do.
Right? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that is so amazing. And yeah, to help feed people, and $100,000. And yeah, you're right, since May. So you could be on track within a full
we
year.
might. We might.
You could
Maybe
hit that
somebody has
number.
an maybe somebody has another motorhome out there they want to. Except people are using their motorhomes like crazy right now.
Right. So now, sometimes though, I know that there are designated families who get these vehicles. How does that work? How does someone get chosen to be the recipient?
Well, we have done through the years probably easily over $100,000 in what we call benevolence vehicles. So our Rotary has never wanted to be part of the choosing of who gets it. We work with another nonprofit. So usually the other nonprofit approaches us, like the Trinity Center in Walnut Creek and St. John Vianney, the Catholic Church in Walnut Creek, came to us. They needed a vehicle for someone who they had brought over. They had a project. They were bringing people out of Afghanistan who were trying to start a new life here. And they needed a car for a family they had brought out of Afghanistan. And it's funny, sometimes we'll get a car that's in really good shape, but it's older and it's low mileage. It's just in great shape. So it's those kind of cars that we kind of pinpoint, hey, this would be a great benevolence car. So that was one that sticks out in my memory, that this young, very young family escaping from Afghanistan were able to get a really nice car so that he could get a job, drive back and forth to it. That was one of them. There was another one where a Monument Crisis Center came to us and said they had a young mother, single mother, with 3 children and taking care of her own mother, and she needed a vehicle. Well, we had just had donated a Chrysler minivan. And so what I did that time was I reached out to my ASCCA shop owners around me. One of them actually took the vehicle into his body shop and he repainted it top to bottom. It looked brand new, but several of the members of the shops around me, several of the owners came and donated parts and labor. it's amazing how we all pull together. Another time we had a motorhome donated that they were going to use up in Paradise, and the roof leaked. Well, I have a fellow shop owner in my chapter. That's his specialty, is motorhome repair. He came out on a day that was hot as Hades, climbed up to the top of it and repaired all the leaks and painted the roof. And it's just that kind of stuff. Everybody wants to help. It's great. The vendors, they like to pitch in. I have Interstate Batteries gives me a free battery for every car we are selling on the lot. A free battery. Now we're looking at least over $100 per battery. It's amazing. All you have to do as a shop owner, I think a lot of times you don't realize how much pull you have. All you have to do is ask. They
Mm.
appreciate your business, so they know this is your project. They're gonna help, and they want to help.
Yeah. Wow. I love it when you start telling all the stories. I mean, it's fun because you
Oh,
light
there's
up,
just
right?
been, it's like countless the things. When the people from Paradise would come to my shop, sometimes we would drive cars there. We'd take 10 cars at a time. Sometimes they'd come in the early morning to pick up cars. They would sit in my waiting room and talk about what happened. Those stories will haunt me forever. How it came and how fast that fire came and how they rushed and standing in a parking lot with flames on circled in flames, and they still made it through it.
Yeah.
It's been
I mean,
quite an adventure.
it's so hard to fathom, but an entire city went up in flames. An entire city. I mean, it wasn't just like a block. It wasn't just a neighborhood.
No,
It was the whole dang place. Yeah. Yeah, and scary. And it's mountainous and it's beautiful and remote.
yeah,
And yeah, it's the same thing like Big Sur. Big Sur is always facing some kind of crisis. It is so stunningly beautiful right
it
there on
is.
Highway 1 with the water and, cliffs and, it's stunning. But it's also one of the harshest. It's like as much as I would love to live down there, their internet is horrible. They're far, far away. It's you have to have that very rugged, independent pioneer mentality to even just live there. And then when
You,
disaster strikes and the road washes out or the fires last for 6 months because they can't get to the steep grade, it's mind-boggling.
they live off the grid and they're conditioned to do so. They're strong people.
Very, I have such respect. And the teamwork, right? Because for every road that's in these remote areas, it's the neighbors paying for that driveway that is shared amongst all the homeowners on that ridge. And
Right.
so it's really teamwork. It's people
Yes.
gathering together to make sure that the road stays maintained. And if somebody's well goes out or whatever, or you know what I mean, like neighbors are. I remembered hearing about friends who were they had hoses with the fire, and so they were watering down their homes, their neighbors' homes. They were just doing everything they could to preserve the community. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, and it's not because people are careless when they're living in the mountains. It's just that the mountains, when we have a drought, it's a tinderbox. You can't.
So dry.
Yeah,
So
it just.
dry.
Yeah. Wow. So amazing. You have so much accomplished. What advice do you have for people who are looking to make a difference in the world?
Don't give up on it. Whatever your goal is, your dream is, however you want to make a difference, just keep at it. And that's kind of been my mantra through the years with different things at our business and even running this program, because that took a lot of convincing of Rotarians that, yes, this is doable and it's perfectly fine. It's legal. We can do this. You just got to keep pounding at it. I never give up. ever. I just keep working it and working it and working it, Jennifer, till I get it done. And being a shop owner, that's kind of the way you have to be too.
Yeah. Yeah. Any business owner,
Business owner,
you
right.
just can't roll over and wish it all to go away. That's
Mhm.
no, it's your money, it's your risk, it's your baby.
Right.
Yeah, and you have
Yeah.
to step up. Yeah. Um, Speaking of which, COVID has really thrown a lot of small businesses for a loop. I mean, look at all the closures. I don't know about where you are in Concord, but here in Monterey, it's just closed shop after closed shop, like a lot of empty stores, a lot of commercial property that is just being underutilized, because of course people have worked from home. So many things have gone on. And here we are a year into COVID. It's been officially a year. And it's like, oh my gosh, right? No one ever expected it to go on this long, right? Um, what do you see happening for the business owners that lost their businesses? Do you think that they're going to rally and start a new business? Or do you think that they're going to retire? Or do you think they're going to find jobs elsewhere?
I think you're going to see a lot of, at least in the automotive, I think you're going to see a lot of shop owners saying, it's time to hang it up. It's over. It's done. It's just not worth it to try to start over when you're retirement age.
Good
But
point.
I keep thinking about the day we all heard, the day they shut it down. It was like, where were you? What were you doing? And Dave and I were having lunch at one of our favorite restaurants at the bar. Not that we were drinking or anything,
Oh,
but
sure.
we just like the bartender there. We have some
Oh, of
good
course.
chuckles at lunch, but the noise came over the phone, and then you looked at it and it was like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. I mean, we were all so sheltered and naive. And I remember coming back to work and Dave said, well, you should probably go out and try to get some food, so at least we have food. So I went to my local Safeway and it's like, Jennifer, oh my God, there were trillions of people in there. There was nothing left on the shelves. It was like, God, I kept thinking, am I dreaming this? It was just unbelievable. So we've all been through a lot. It was frightening just trying to decide. Dave and I were trying to decide, should we stay open? Should we close? We have a wonderful business coach. We talked to him. Uh, I called another business coach who is so amazing. I don't know if you know Malin Newton or Bill Haas.
Of
Those are
course.
my guys. I love
Of
them
course.
both, and they are just. Bill is our coach, and Malin I've known for years. He's just a wealth of information. And, they convinced us that you've got to stay open as long as you can, because if you close, you're giving up. You need to stay and keep at it and see what develops and see how we can work with this. And we did. And I won't say it was easy, and we certainly were down. Um, but it all came back. It's
It,
better now. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better.
there's always a good in every bad situation. And I found that the good for me, and I also saw it in a lot of shops and small businesses, that it forced broken processes to get fixed. It forced people to pivot and shift in ways that they would not have had they not had the crunch
I know.
of you have to do this. And so the ones that pivoted are the ones that survived and found a solution, right? Today I heard something from my one of my coaches, and I have not researched this, but I want to. I heard from her that the um, oh the Med Club. What is that? What is that famous, like resort? The Med
Oh,
Club?
Club Med.
Club Med. Club Med. Thank you. Club Med in Jamaica. They want you to come and stay at their resort, and they're issuing $100,000 insurance plan on everybody coming. That way, if you were to get COVID, you would be able to stay on property, have 3 meals a day being catered to you, a doctor on site. So should you come to their resort and something goes awry, you're covered and you're going to be fine. And I was like, oh, they found a solution, and that's so elegant. And I want to go now.
I know it.
And she told me that her friend who went, she said, I really wanted to get sick so I could stay longer.
Oh God.
But
Maybe
what
the
did,
cruise. Maybe
yeah,
the
what did,
cruise. What about the cruise ships? Maybe that's a tactic they should try.
maybe, but like it was fascinating, and it was like, so I saw, concierge service. Okay, you don't want to bring your vehicle in because you're afraid to leave your house. We'll come pick it up for you. We will sanitize it for you. We will deliver it to you. Like, there was some really nice services. Conference calls like this. Zoom took off. I've been with
Wonderful.
GoToMeeting forever, but like Zoom became like the name, like tissues and Coke. Everyone says Zoom, even though it might not be their platform that they're using. But yeah, like, and quite frankly, I love not driving up to Concord to see you. I can just see
Oh
you
my
by
goodness.
sending you a link. I
This
love
is
seeing you,
fantastic.
right? So there's so much good. There's a lot of bad too, but there's a lot of good that has come out of it, and that's what I'm choosing to focus on, because if I look at all the bad, I'm going to get sad, right? But
Yeah.
to see the good stuff is pretty impressive. There's a lot of
It's funny.
ingenuity.
It's funny though, Jennifer, because some people have embraced the Zoom, but others, they just don't want to deal with it. My local trade organization chapter, it's just not their thing. They don't want any of it. So me, I like it. I like it a lot. I love it for Rotary.
I love it too, and you were so kind to have me speak to your Rotary Club, and I loved it
Oh,
because
and they loved you. Oh my God. They were raving about you.
so cute.
You were fantastic.
Well, what I loved is it was a 7 a.m. meeting. That's
You had
not
to get up
my
early,
that is not my time of day because I'm a night
but
owl.
it had to be.
However, but because I was able to do it from home, it was so much easier. I mean, imagine if I had driven up. Oh my God, Mary, I would have had to have gotten up at 3 in the morning and gone through the San Jose Bay Area traffic bubble to get to you. No, thank
Yeah,
you. Right? I've been able
no.
to crash more parties from teleconferencing than ever. Who knew? Who
But
knew?
you get such a variety of speakers for the Rotary. Dave's Rotary takes full advantage of this. They have speakers coming in from Australia, England, all over the world, and really prominent people. It's because everybody's schedules are pretty flexible with Zoom. They don't have to plan any travel time. So they're grabbing hold of these great, great speakers. It's pretty cool.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
So I
Uh,
think Zoom is here to stay.
I think so. And you know what? I'm cool with that. Like, my Toastmasters group is on Zoom. In fact, they were one of the first groups to embrace Zoom. So I would say that though I'm not perfect with Zoom, I have advanced knowledge of how it works and how to run things because of that early adoption. I am seeing that when people are not on it very often, they want to throw up their hands and say, ah. But I think hybrid events are going to be a very real thing, because there are people that really want to be there in person, and fine, be the VIP attendees. And for the cheap seats can be the online version, but why not have
Yeah,
an event that
you
has
know,
both?
I love the hybrid model. Dave's Rotary, is already doing that. They have a group of, I think, no more than 10 people that meet in a garage in Orinda. It's not just any garage, let me
Okay, I was
tell
about
you.
to say
It's a
it's a
very
very swanky
beautiful
garage.
garage.
Okay, okay. Probably
But
insulated, not very cold. Has a nice little floor. Yeah, okay.
but so they have their meeting. They're together, and it's up on the screen where all the rest of the Zoom people. I love that concept. I think every meeting should be like that from now on. So if you didn't want to go, you could still join the meeting.
Yeah. And there's a whole new industry being born of people who are running and moderating those
Mhm.
meetings. Oh, here's a fun one. I was on a Zoom call with National Association of Remodeling Industry, NARI, Silicon Valley. So NARI SV. So we had our chapter meeting because we're getting into marketing for construction now, which is awesome because I come from that
Wow.
background as well. Yeah, lots of business happening right now because everyone's
Oh
redoing their
yeah,
houses, right?
definitely.
But after we had our chapter meeting, we had a Zoom scavenger hunt. And I was like, what is this? And Mary, it was so much fun. I have to tell you about it. And anybody listening, check this out. So it was 3 rounds. So there was a moderator guy who welcomed us all into the scavenger hunt. And he put us in rooms. So he put us in teams, and there were like 8 people. So no, 10 people. So there were 5 people on each team. So he assigned us teams. And he says, you guys elect who your captain of your team is going to be. And if you want to change your name of your team, okay, fine. So I didn't know this was a new group for me. So I was like hanging back. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable, but it was fun to be a member. So what you had to do was round one was we had to gather like things on a list, and we had it in a certain time frame. And the team that could get the most objects from their home, and it was stuff like,
Oh
and
my God.
it was so fun. It was like so the things that I gathered was a book that I read during quarantine. Well, not only did I grab a book that I read during quarantine, I brought the book that I wrote during quarantine
I
to
love
get
it.
principal. He says, okay, you get extra points for that. Um, I had to show off a piece of food or a food item that I bought but never used, and it was like a thing of Parmesan cheese. Um, I had to have some food that I could easily pop and catch with my mouth. So I stole Renee's pirate's booty.
Popcorn.
Yeah, that stuff. So I was like doing that. And then the next round, so that was fun. Our team won that round. And then the next round was he gave us the worksheet, and there were like 15 questions, and we had to identify the cities of these various pictures. So there were like landmarks, like 15 different landmarks, and we had to identify which cities they were in. Eiffel Tower, like, but then some obscure stuff too. So we ended up winning that round.
So
And then,
they show those pictures
yeah,
on the screen, and then you
yeah,
guys identify.
exactly. It's a file that everyone gets to download and see on their own computers, and so you can do your research. And anyway, it was fun. And again, it's all on a timed thing, so you could Google stuff, but like you had to do it within 5 minutes. Like, so you had to. And then the third round was riddles. So you had to solve the riddle and then grab the item from your home to show that you not only solved the riddle but you have the item. So like, for example, one of them was, this item is cut on a table, but you'll never eat it. It was a deck of cards. Or,
That's fantastic.
yeah, um, or this item you can only use when it's broken, and it was an egg. And like, anyway, so it was like different things. And like, anyway, what was hilarious about it is that the people that I was playing against, they live in bigger homes, so it took them longer to get their items. Me, I'm in an 800 square foot apartment, so everything was right there. So they're like, gloves, I got it right here, scissors, boom, vacuum, boom. Like, everything was in literally within 15 feet of me in reach. And they're like, how is it that you have? I'm like, I live in a small home and I'm very organized. Okay. But
So
yeah, it was
how many
so much fun.
It sounds like it. We were looking for something to do the middle of April. Well, Renee built that flyer for my Rotary for that wine auction.
Yeah,
So we're
what are you
gonna.
going to do with that?
Well, I'm thinking that because Vicky was saying that we really should do something fun. I think that I'm gonna suggest the scavenger.
Okay. And if you guys like that, I'll put you in touch with the person that organized that because it was
Yeah.
fun. I don't know how much it cost, but it had this moderator guy and like but like we would never have done that prior to COVID, right?
No.
And I loved the idea that I could do a scavenger hunt with things from my own home. Like that's brilliant. I don't have to go out and buy it. You know what I mean?
No.
And yeah, it was a hoot. It was a hoot. I really dug it. So it'll be interesting. Like how many parties get thrown? Like, okay, my daddy passed away a year ago. In July on his birthday, we had a Zoom funeral. And quite frankly,
Uh,
it was lovely. It really was fine. It was like, because he got cremated, so it wasn't like there was a viewing. But like, yeah, everyone got a chance to speak and to share, and they heard stories from people like they didn't know like about daddy's entire life. So like, yeah, like funerals are changing. I wish I wish that on Zoom I could actually eat with you. Like I can have my own food and you can have your own food. I'd really love to eat your cooking because your cooking is better than my cooking. So that's kind of lacking. But the fact that we can both bring up a beverage and like have happy hour together and
yeah.
socialize,
Well,
it's
there
cool.
actually, about 2 months ago, there was a wine tasting that one of the Rotarians invited me to. This winery was doing a wine tasting online, and the wine was fantastic. But
So they
that
shipped it to your house kind of
they
deal.
shipped it to your house. There were 3 bottles of wine we were testing, and it was just really cool because they described, just like you were there. They described all about the wine, and you have your sippy, and for me, a gulpy.
That's okay. If you like it, drink it.
And
Yeah.
I was giggling like crazy before it was over. We all were. It was so much fun.
Wow. Okay. Well, now we know. Now we know that we can do certain things, right? But yeah,
Yeah,
it's really phenomenal. I think again, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of loss, but dang, who would think that new industries would be born, new ways of doing things, and I'm a hugger, but yesterday I had an awkward situation on the street where I was coming back from the bank and my nose was in my phone. I'm walking up the sidewalk and I'm checking emails actually, and I see a person blocking my path, and it's an old friend of mine, and he was going in for a hug, and I was startled because I didn't expect anyone to approach me in that manner, and it's a friend, but it was just kind of like and I blurted out, "No, we're not going to do this." Like I'm not ready for a hug
oh,
because I'm so protecting myself because I have grandmothers that I want to protect, and I don't really want to
exactly.
unnecessarily expose myself to anything. But it came out so awkward because I'm like, no, don't touch me. And he's like, okay, how about this? Like, okay.
Uh,
But it was weird because like normally if some pre-COVID, if somebody came like, hey, big old bear hug, it's like, yay, I love my hugs. But it's weird how a year has turned this hugger into is strange.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
And it's
somebody
funny.
said, yeah, go ahead.
It's funny I've gotten used to the silence because before I always had people coming into the office and customers would wait. We'd be chatting while I was working, and now nobody is allowed in. And I've just grown so used to that when people do come in, I want them to leave right away. It's weird.
No, I get it. I get it. In fact, what'll be interesting is a lot of shop owners, even pre-COVID, they wanted to reduce those distractions because it kept the service advisors and the
Yeah,
techs from doing what they need to do. So thus the need for Uber drivers or loaner cars or what have you. But yeah, your service level is amazing. So who knows? Maybe if anything, it's just faster service to get them where they need to go
Yeah,
before they.
definitely.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, and thank goodness, Rockstar Marketing, we've always worked from home. Our entire team has always worked from home. So when people were like, okay, I got to work from home now, yay, I'm like, well, we've been doing this. It wasn't a big deal for us, but to watch how the whole world, not the whole world, but like a big chunk. And then now they're like, this working from home thing is cool. I'm like, well, yeah, but now you see why I'm desperate to get out of the house and go socialize because I'm tired of looking at myself.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we're almost there, Jennifer.
we are.
It won't
We
be
are.
much longer.
Just out of curiosity, when everything is safe and all good, what is the first place you're going to go enjoy yourself without any restrictions?
Dave and I are going to go back to our favorite bar, Jack's, in Pleasant Hill, and sit at the bar.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
we're going to go back to where it started.
Very cool. I love that full circle. That's going to be really awesome. I think for me and Renee, our plans are first stop Florida to go visit the grandmothers, right, and my
Nice.
mom. And then second stop, we had to cancel our trip to Maui. We were going to teach dance in Maui in February,
Yes.
and just because we wanted to be sensitive to our hosts, and the travel over there wasn't closed off, but it was limited and restricted and hard. So we're like, yeah, Maui will always be there. So Maui's on the list. And then I really want to go to Italy now. Like I just really want, like I've been wanting to go to Italy for years. Now is the time to really plan that trip. Maybe with a hundred
That's a
thousand
good
dollar
choice.
plan. So if I have to stay over there, I can get,
Yeah,
man.
that's a good place, Italy. I like that.
Want to go? Come on with us. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. Okay.
Leave the guys behind.
Oh no, the guys have to come with. I mean, who else are we going to have the booze with, right? Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, we're up at our hour, but hey, listen, everybody, if you've stuck around for this long, I hope you got to enjoy our chit chat together. Mary Kemnitz, of course, is the co-owner of D&H Enterprises in Concord, California. If you want to get in touch with Mary, please look up carsecondchance.com. That's CARS, the number 2, ND, chance, CHANCE.com. Then you have D&H Auto Repair.com. And Mary, what's your shop phone number in case anybody wants to come to you?
It's 925-356-0683.
Yay! So, and if you want to join
Thank
Rotary
you,
Club, make
Jennifer.
sure, oh, thank you. And make sure you join the Clayton Valley Concord Sunrise Rotary Club because that's where you're going to find Mary and all the cool kids.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Love you. Love you.
Love you.
Have a wonderful evening, and I will catch you later. Okay, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye,
Bye.
Jen.